But I'm going to start with a mantra that I learned in India. It's a Shanti mantra, and it's often sung by students and teachers. It's often used at the beginning of a class or a sangha like this. And what it's in Sanskrit and what it translates to is may we be protected together. May we be nourished together. May we work together with vigor or potency. May our understanding be radiant, and may we not have any animosity. And then it ends with Om Shanti Shanti, which is calling in peace. It's a peace mantra for peaceful collaboration and respectful discourse, essentially. So I'm going to chant that for us. And if you want to get nice and cozy and either take in your environment slowly by moving the head side to side, you can. If you're feeling already quite grounded, you can allow the eyes to come closed. Hmm. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And if you haven't closed the eyes, I'll invite you to soften the gaze or close the eyes. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Begin to open your heart, your body to sound. I imagine that you have all had experiences with meditation practice where we use breath as the anchor of meditation. But for today, see how it feels to allow sound to be the anchor of meditation. Sometimes I feel more like the animal that I am when I use sound as an anchor of meditation. So notice the most obvious sounds, my voice. Notice also the more subtle sounds. Could be sound of your own breath, something distant and far away. The level of quiet here in my space right now is something I would not be able to access in India at any moment. It is a loud, wild, seemingly chaotic place. Constantly, horns are honking, crows are crowing. Bells of temples are ringing, people's voices are singing, babies are crying. And what I learned from being in a place that loud was something about knowing we can access harmony in even the most unharmonious of places at times. That this Om, this primordial sound, the whirring and whirling of the universe is always also there. So see if, as you're using sound as an anchor, if you can get in touch with Om, Om. You might touch into it by allowing yourself to vocalize, or it could just be a gentle whisper in the back of the mind or behind the belly button. Om. Om. And as you're working in this way, begin to add some breath and energy, moving really gently and slowly towards some vocalization of Om, Om. So sensing the beginning, the middle, the end of this sound. Om. Om. That it's coming from the base of the body and it has this upward stroke that we could almost feel it, locate it in our root chakra and pull it up through the heart and to the mouth and send it out into the world. Oh. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvi Navadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And because Sanskrit is an onomatopoetic language, by forming these words, working with these words, they will have a physiological effect. So we could certainly chant the word peace, peace, peace over and over, and that could be a great practice. But see what it feels like just to say aloud, if you're comfortable in your space, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. You can apply touch anywhere on the body that needs to receive Shanti, 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 Shanti. And when you're ready, slowly allow the eyes to come open and take some time before bringing the attention strongly back onto the computer screen. So just let yourself have some soft focus in the room before facing the screen. Hmm. I'll
Mhm.
tell you a really quick story, but because it's so was on sound, but I got to witness this incredible festival for Our Lady of Mokama, the Divine Mother. This was with the Sisters of Charity of Nazareth, and pilgrims from all over India, from all different faiths, like descend upon their campus. And the night before, there's a big procession, and we do the rosary going around the shrine. And there's a group that comes from Benares every year, and they pray from 7 p.m. until 5 in the morning. Now, there are loudspeakers. Picture like think like a college campus is the side. There are loudspeakers everywhere. So the masses were on the loudspeakers. The rosary was on the loudspeakers. These folks praying overnight were on the loudspeakers, and the loudspeaker was right outside of where my room was. And so as I woke up in the middle of the night, what I heard was hallelujah, 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 and then it would get soft. You would hear a couple crickets, and then the women's voices would come in with a chant and a song, and then the hallelujah would be back again. And um, I have a voice recording of some of it just because it was so loud. And I found myself when I was listening to the last recording, Granny J, when you were talking about, being really mindful of like, the sounds and doing what we can to do that. I just thought, well, that would never be possible in India. And yet there was, and it still taught me so much. And so I just, yeah, that's one of many, many stories and learnings. But over to you, Granny J and Amy.
Thank you so much.
Leah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being willing to go and open yourself to that experience and then being willing to come back and share with us and lead us today in that beautiful sound meditation. Wow. Yeah, let's, just opening up some space here for us to share and connect around what Leah has shared. Yeah. So, what has come up for us? We're not going to do our usual check-in as we normally do. So, um, yeah, just feel free to share what comes to heart and mind. Mm. Yeah, Leah does have a glow about her. Yeah,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I had my sliding glass door open and the birds were just like going at it while you were chanting. Like it was like right in rhythm with your chanting. It was amazing.
Wow. Yeah, that vibration. Wow. Power of sound. Hmm.
Uh, I've been listening to some chanting on YouTube, and they're chanting Aum. And when you hear that, such as you were saying tonight, when you hear that, you just you get out of your body. That's for sure, and you just float. It's an amazing feeling. It really is timeless. It really is spaceless.
Mm.
Yeah, you gave us some of that tonight. Thank you.
I kind of experienced when you gave us the cue at the end to soften our eyes and don't look at the computer screen. I got an amazing softness about the environment here. And then when I turned back to the computer screen, everything changed. And I thought, well, yeah, there you go. That says something, doesn't it?
Yeah. From a spiritual world to a physical world, it says. And that's what we're moving through. And sound is one of the ways by which we move from the physical world into the spiritual world. And in the next month, we'll be into the sixth chakra. And that's nothing but spiritual. So don't expect to have your feet on the floor too often.
You know, I have to say it was both like it was a transcendent experience and also I felt very grounded and in the body. The sound brought me very much in it. And Leah, when you said, you know, imagine it coming up from the root, up through the heart, you know, I was like, I felt that totally. In fact, it was already feeling that. And then you putting words to it was like, wow, you know. Yeah, so it was this both this grounding and this yeah, transcending experience, but very spiritual at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I feel like that it's like you have to keep going back to grounding as you are going up because I think it actually there are risks and like potential harm involved if you're just like, cool, let's open the third eye, let's get really transcendent and you don't have the ability to ground back down, then
Yeah.
like our grounding gives us that it is our protection in some ways. You know, like you can be raising your vibration, but you need strong protectors if you are um, doing that. And in India, we were practicing a lot. And when we walked or went anywhere, our teacher was very adamant that we were doing that in silence. And mostly it was for safety because I like, there were days where I was like, I feel like I'm a baby who's like learning to walk again. My balance and equilibrium really got weird there for a few days and it was like you and the traffic and things it was like you're going getting real high on your practice and then you're put in the wildest traffic you could possibly imagine, not at all like what we're used to. You're just cars are passing you by and then you go and so it was definitely for me was a deep learning and like always going back to finding your feet on the ground and finding your feet on the ground and being able to let that be such a strong anchor. And learning that there are mantras for that. Like there are mantras we can do around root chakra or to like call in protections. And so it's like Om is one tool of many tools. And sometimes to go floating out here is like not the tool we need at the time. And so yeah,
Yeah.
it was a lot of that kind of discernment of what practice when.
Yeah. A central channel, you know, from way up to way down is sitting there, and the toric field is always sitting there, you know. But grounding, I agree, is one has to be grounded really all the time almost, you know.
Mhm.
Eileen McCusick walks barefooted all the time, including walks in the woods. So I decided I'd walk across our backyard here, quote, grass. Well, this grass here is like little nails sticking up. It's very hard to bristle. I mean, by the time I got back, I was I was very glad to be on concrete. Uh,
Wow. Yeah.
I've been, as we were
Beautiful.
reading the book of Joy and listening and reading about the Dalai Lama, it seems, and I think this is what you're talking about, Leah, is he experiences long moments of mantras and prayer and centering and founding, um, foundational. Um, grounding. And I'm wondering if anyone in this group at some point we can share our mantras if we have mantras or if we have something that centers us. I would love to hear that at some point.
Beautiful. Yeah.
but
Maybe we can.
chants are certainly a great part of the fifth chakra, and we need to continue doing those as we go on to the higher chakras.
Yeah. I wonder, let's come back to that and see how we might share. I'm aware of time and I want us like I said, we're going to be closing out fifth chakra. So I'm going to hold that possibility, Mary. And if it's not tonight, maybe we can just share it out by email. But I think, yeah, to share out our mantras would be really, yeah, really wonderful. So Granny J, what do we have to, what do we want to share out on tonight for this fifth chakra?
So when I started this is what came to me. And God took dust from the earth, and with God's hands, he formed man. And then he blew prana into his nostrils, and man became a living soul. That's what we're about with the fifth chakra. That prana, that a thing that is life throughout the cosmos, that prana. And so I guess breath is really our connection to life itself. And not only that, breath is the connector between the physical world and the spiritual world. And it's the gateway. If you think of the neck, think how small the neck is. Think how large the fourth chakra was. It's humongous, right? The biggest one. And then to get to the sixth chakra, you have to go through the eye of the camel. You have to go through the neck. And that's breath. That's breath. So breath is going to be sort of the big part of what we're going to do tonight. In fact, before the night's over, I'm going to give you a 21-day challenge. Although I'm going to make it a 3-month challenge. I can't imagine doing these 21 different breaths in 21 days. Forget that. If we can do 7 in a month, that would be really good. But we're gonna be playing around with breath tonight. It takes us to our higher state of consciousness, and we can't get into that sixth chakra unless we keep raising our state of consciousness. And that's what we said we were doing. We're awakening, right? We're awakening. And so to do that, we have to awaken to a higher state of consciousness. And breath is our avenue. The vibration we played with, that's important, but it is not like breath. It is not like breath. Amy?
Yeah. Wow. So yeah, breath work is the use of breath consciously. We're always being breathed. I love returning to the breath. We're always being breathed. It's always there, just like our heartbeat is always beating. But when we bring consciousness to it, it really does elevate our vibration. It can also calm us. It's healing and transformative, and not only in the mind and body, but also spirit. It's 3 in 1. And it's free. It's always available to us. And again, it's always there. We can simply just return, it's just returning to it with awareness. And so to work with breath and breath work is really a key to mastery. It's a key to self-purification and cleansing and clearing and healing. I think, right now, working as a mental health counselor, I'm using breath with every client. It's like such a holistic approach to a really diseased healthcare system. It's a tool that's already in our pocket and available to us all the time. So, yeah, breath work.
So let's dive into it a little bit deeper. For those doing desiring spiritual growth, and I think all of us sitting here is desiring some spiritual growth. breath is a direct path. It's a direct path to spiritual awakening. It's to self-realization, becoming totally your authentic self. The fifth chakra, remember, is speaking your authentic voice, speaking who you are. And we're sitting here, pardon me, Dan, with mainly women, and all of our women's voices have been quieted. And they don't have to be. We have a choice, and our choice now is to speak authentically. And it's going to lead to self-realization and to some enlightenment. Anodea Judith. Now, Anodea Judith is one of the authors that Amy and I have used throughout our course as one of our guides. Says that breath acts as a bridge between the unconscious body and the conscious mind. So it's our bridge, but our body is really, if it wasn't for the oxygen in it would be nothing. It would just be laying there, decaying, because you need the oxygen to keep it alive. But our mind is conscious. That's what you're using right now. You're listening with your ears, but you're processing with your mind. So it's the bridge between those two things. Okay. And when I say mind, I'm not talking about this stuff up here. I'm talking about our real self, our soul. Okay. So it helps to release, I think, trapped emotions. Breath will help release emotions that are trapped in your body, that makes you ill, makes you tired, wears you out. I think it also really can alter your entire body structure, because as you get older, you tend to have habits of how you're holding your body. But as you take in more prana, more breath, as you become aware of the vibrations in the air and you make use of them, you begin standing more erect, and your whole body begins to change the structure of it. Okay. So are you sold on the fact that we need to work on the breath? Let's see some hands. Are you sold? Oh, okay, you're sort of sold. Well, let's see if I can sell you a little bit more. Okay. It's also good for personal transformation, okay? There are 3 basic skills, okay? The first one is just to awaken. It's the consciousness factor. Become more conscious of everyone and everything. It's all there for you to learn from. It increases your relaxation. And so that is the release factor. You release stress, you release anxiety, you release fears. It's a relaxation factor. Okay. And breathing is an energy factor. When you're dead tired, if you do the right kind of breathing exercise, you can change that energy within a matter of minutes. A matter of minutes. I see some shaking of heads. You've tried some of that out. Okay, so you know that that's true. Okay, so let's I thought I would do a breathing exercise at this point. And the first one I chose, I began to get a little concerned about it. So I'm going to go to a much simpler one. However, it's got a twist. Okay, so you're going to inhale for about 8 counts and exhale for 3. Here's the twist. While you're inhale, you're thinking of exhaling. And while you're exhaling, you're thinking of inhaling. We're trying to separate your mind and your body. They're 2 separate things. Okay, and the body is the one that's sort of doing the breathing automatic, but we need to learn to separate that. Okay, So, Amy, can you give us a couple minutes? We're going to do this breathing for a couple minutes. I want you to be aware of how you're feeling now, emotionally, physically, etc. When you inhale through your nose. It's a belly inhale, so make sure your belly comes out. So if you want to feel your belly coming out, put a hand down there. So your belly button pops out and you fill all the way up in the chest, okay? And exhale. They suggest you don't push it out fast, but you need to get it out in 3 seconds. And then we'll do another inhale. I'll count us through two of them, and then you're on your own because I'm going to do this too, okay? And afterwards, we're going to check if how you feel now changes by the time you get to the end. Okay, Amy, here we go. Are you ready? You're sort of sitting up straight or your feet sort of on the ground here. Get grounded because we need to have the central channel open. You have to be straight, get the head erect, the chin tucked in here. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Out, 2, 3. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Out, 2, 3. In, 2.
Ooh. Okay, everybody. Wowza. Okay, let's hear how'd that go? What were our experiences? I feel a bit scrambled, I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
I was going to say I couldn't hardly breathe in while I tried to think I was breathing out. I was
Yeah.
choking to death.
Yeah.
I became very conscious because breathing out only being 3 seconds, it's like my body wanted to take longer,
Uh-huh.
but it made me very conscious of what I was doing and thinking about when I was exhaling, so.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah, it made it really clear how automatic it is. And so to think about it was like, yeah, to reverse it, to try to think about exhaling on the inhale and the opposite.
Yeah. Yeah. Indeed. It's sort of confusing, right? But the whole idea is get the body separated.
I
I
think
think,
this is something that's going to take some practice.
Well,
Right?
If it makes you feel better, this is the 21st exercise. I'm giving you an opportunity, a challenge to Dan Brule's, Brule's 21-day breathwork challenge. There are 21 different breaths you will be doing. This was the 21st one. It's called Rebirth. It is a very complex one. You had exactly the kind of experience you should have had because number one, you aren't really ready for that. Bad experience, okay? And but you could tell that there was something beginning to happen a little bit. There was a little something different happening. Uh, so when you get to the end, 3 months from now, so Amy will put these 21 different breath work activities into not into the chat, but send it out with the harvest. So you'll have a copy. Now I'm going to guarantee you there's some typos in there because I was typing them and my typing isn't the world's best because my fingers get lost and my mind's going here and the book's there. It's very so I expect that and forgive me, but continue on. And if you want the book, it's called Just Breathe. Uh, it's a challenging book, but I guarantee you that book will change your life. You will begin to be a spirit inhabiting a body. And if you feel uncomfortable with one of the exercises, find someone that does breath work and get some help. There are a lot of breath work people. You can go to his website and he will even tell you some people who might be in your area. But this could be a life-changing challenge. I think you will find it more than interesting. That's or provocative in a lot of ways. And the reason this is still a part of the fifth chakra. The nose is a part of your fifth chakra. The two big parts of your fifth chakra. Well, I guess there's three. First of all, finding your authentic voice and speaking it. And that's something you should continue to do. So when you're in a situation where you would normally phrase it to keep everything comfortable and a nice social culture, you might just have to say what you're really thinking. And if you can do that, staying grounded, and just deliver it without any emotion, it will be interesting. Marcia, do you have something to share on that?
Yeah. Give me a hint.
Okay.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, your little light came up the reason I did that.
Oh, no.
Yeah. We Americans live such an artificial life in a social way. We're never truly who we are. We are the social at our jobs. We have sort of one persona, then we come home, we have another persona, then we go out with our girlfriends, we have another. And if you go out with your husband and there's another man and woman, you don't even know who that woman is. Oh, well, she's your friend. She becomes a totally different person. All right. So we're not very authentic. So the fifth chakra is asking you to become more and more authentically who you are, to more and more state exactly what it is you want to say. Not in a nasty manner. Just put it in the air without any emotion. Just the power of the exact words that express the feeling. And that hits the gut. That's part of the fifth chakra. The the stuff on YouTube using those vibrations. Have any of you tried using any of those vibrations? Okay. Can you share any kind of experience you had with it, Carla? I'm sorry.
It's okay. Um, I found it calming, was the primary reaction I had to it. More, through here, would be my first reaction.
Okay.
Mhm.
Mary, can you share some of the things you've experienced with it because you've used it quite a bit recently? Hello, Mary?
Sorry, I'm trying to calm a dog down here. I'm in the bedroom. Actually, what you were just talking about, I'm holding on to Riley, trying to close his mouth.
You've been using the YouTube 432 a lot in the background as you've been working. Can you share what you've
Yeah, absolutely. It gets me into a such a calm mode and almost timeless and spaceless. Just kind of there working, and sometimes I just have to check my watch and I go, "Wow, that was an hour ago." You kind of just lose that timelessness, and that sense of where you are, and just you're kind of just floating, and it's a wonderful feeling. It's very relaxing and extremely productive. But you got to watch your time because you're not in a time space mode.
And remember, there really isn't any time and space. Like the first the first activity I had scheduled for tonight was to say the universe you're living in is not really the one we say it is. And I think I shared that with you, Marcia, that I was thinking of doing that. And I talked with Amy about it, and it didn't feel right. So we went to the breath one, and that's what happens, particularly if you're listening to 432 in the background, if you're doing some sort of work that is sort of agitating, or if you're doing a job that's repetitive. I mean, it's a great way to just float in a timeless, spaceless thing and just do it. And when you get through, you're not tired. You're not even aware time has passed. So do try to use some of those vibrations. Did I send out to you the Solfeggio frequencies and the Fibonacci frequencies? Have they been sent out, Amy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there were a couple of you that had to request access to the doc. So if you didn't get it or there was access issues, let me know. And I can, or I'll just make a note to resend it. Yeah.
Right. But don't forget that they're there as a great help to you, a great help to you. And as you use them, you will become more spiritually awakened. And that's what we're working on, more spiritual awakening. And the breathing that we're encouraging you to take up is the other part of it. And it is the doorway between physical and spiritual. So I guess that I don't know, let's see, what else do we have here?
I don't know. The other thing that I experience in when I put on sound when doing some work is everything else gets just there's less of the mind wandering. The mind is staying pretty focused. And I don't know, Jimmy, if that's something that you're expressing right now, but I feel really focused when I'm listening to the sound.
I think that's due to rhythm. Everything has a rhythm. And when you have the sound frequency, there's a rhythm that goes along with it. And that rhythm becomes a meter in which you are operating.
I think, yeah, I think part of what's coming up for me is just the amount of noise and distraction in our lives, both inner and outer. And these frequencies in the breath, I mean, even Leah, when you were guiding us through that, using again sound as an anchor to the meditation, part of that, what was so powerful about that is that there is a sound to our breath, to our heartbeat. And some of these frequencies for me help just clear out all the external noise, and it brings me into stillness, and like it syncs up the music of my soul, the music of my own heartbeat, of the song of my breath. And there's like, yeah, it's there's just this harmonizing effect that happens. And so yeah, everything kind of gets quiet and falls away. Yeah.
Your breathing becomes regulated too. Your breathing becomes in a very calm, repetitive pattern. And don't forget that breathing is the intake of prana. Let me talk about prana here just a little bit again. There is no way I can emphasize the importance of prana because it's greater than it's the greatest gift. It's the gift of life. It's an incredible gift. So whatever you want to call it, whether chi or whatever, it makes no difference what you want to call it. It is the life force within us. It is the life force. The minute prana doesn't enter your body ceases to function. It wouldn't have gotten into your body when you're born if the doctor hadn't whacked you on the back. I mean, that slap on the back is the best gift you've ever had. It gave you the gift of life. Okay, it gave you the gift of life. That's an incredible thing when you think about that. Okay, so breathing in that life force. Don't forget you have 72,000 nadia. Well, first of all, you have the central canal, and then you have the 12 meridians, and off of those 12 meridians are 72,000 nadia, and each chakra has its own set, and they're all connected to your autonomic nervous system, to the pancreas and to the thymus gland, and to the ovaries. They're all connected to that, and that's where life is taking place. Without that, your body would not function at all, and without it, your heart stops also, because there's no energy to pump around. Prana is your energy. It is your life force. Let's see, what else can I say about it here?
Granny Jay, I'm going to pop in here because it's so interesting. When we think about breath, is that you're saying it's the bridge between, you know, um,
Physical and
matter and the spirit, and you're talking about the gift of it at the birth. And I also have just experienced this gift in the death of my mother, the passing away of my mom. And so it feels like, wow, it's something to be shared here because it's so connected. Her last breaths were so like profound. They were so pronounced, they were loud, they were exhaustive. It's like it was the last work of the body, to release. Like the spirit was releasing, the body they were releasing, they were disconnecting. And oh my gosh, I'm like, I really experienced that also as such a gift, those last breaths, as she became free, her spirit became free. And so I'm just like really with that, as we're talking about the breath, the power of it, that we're spirits encompassing the body, that I've just had this beautiful experience. I know I'm not alone on this call with others who have had that experience with loved ones or people who are passing over, but that, yeah, it carries us in this body and then it releases us.
right. And what's released is the soul and all the subtle bodies. They float away. Has anyone ever seen the silver string? What? Yeah, Mary has, and I have too. When a person dies, like a friend of mine, they called me up and said the nurse station and said, she just has a matter of hours to live. So I called her friends in, and one of her friends had come in from New York. So we took up music and candles and all that, set it up in the room, and we were with her through that day. And about 7 in the evening, Carolyn says, I got to have a smoke. And I said, okay, I'll walk outside with you to get a breath. So we went outside, and we were sort of outside of where her room was. And she lights the cigarette, and we look up. There she went up, the silver streak, right out of her room. And we said, there she goes. And that's the soul and the subtle bodies. Uh, that happens. Mary, your experience was what?
Yeah, for me, was with my dad. He had passed out. I walked outside by his favorite birch tree and looked up, and there was a shooting star just just, just shooting way, way up to the air, and I just felt it. I just felt that energy just traveling.
Wow.
So when the prana leaves, the soul leaves. Leaves.
Jimmy, I have a question.
Yep.
Right before the child is born, it's breathing, it's alive, so to speak. So
It's not breathing.
it's not breathing, but
It's got its mother's prana going through it.
okay.
Because her blood system and the child's blood system are connected there in that umbilical cord. And when the child's born, that umbilical cord begins to separate.
Yeah.
And so as long as that's connected and the umbilical cord's working, it's getting oxygen from the mother,
Got it.
but it's not existing on its own.
Right. So the spirit enters when we take our first breath?
The spirit enters, I think, at a variety. I think it may come in and out. It may come in and stay sometime. The spirit, I think, has agreed that this is the body and the life that they want to have their lessons, because we're all here learning lessons, right? We're all here learning lessons. And so I think probably it goes in and out at first, and then it's trying to figure out what the heck, where am I and what's this about? And then I'm pretty sure when it gets whacked, it begins its journey of trying to come into and operate this body. Remember, the soul's operating our body. We are the soul. We are operating this body. We do a pretty good job of it. And if we want to help it out, we will do our breathing exercises and increase our prana, increase our energy, increase our health. You know,
Thank you.
Yeah, Peg, I'm also I'm aware you've been doing some work with Qigong, which is also a really powerful tool, way to get in touch with and work with the Qi. I wonder if you have anything to share here.
Well, whenever you do anything with Qigong, the first thing that you do is you create an energy ball in your first or second chakra, and then you begin to use that energy to heal your body. So you can send it to your organs, through visualization, and it's very, very powerful. But yeah, it's always pulling energy, warm or hot energy from the earth, or cool energy from the sky, and then you become the center of that energy. And one of the very most simplest exercises is called the microcosmic orbit, where you just take that energy and you just roll it around your body, and you can feel your energy increasing, because everything has an axis in the universe. So yeah. I was thinking about types of energy, and I heard an interview with Yo-Yo Ma recently, and I think they asked him something like, do you ever get tired of playing? And he was shocked, and he said, music is energy, and it's what you put out there. It's vibration that just goes out into the universe that you can someone else can pull in and feel that vibration. And it just made music so very real to me. And Leah, when you were chanting, I mean, that's really what that is. It's music, it's sound. Um, and that type of energy is just very interesting to me right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why stringed instruments in a lot of ways are more powerful than wind instruments, because when you're playing a string instrument, you feel that vibration in your fingers, you know. And when you're using the bow, you can feel that in the bow, the friction of the bow. Um, but music is healing. Yeah.
I I'd like to say that I mean I did not play the clarinet that long, but I did play it for a time, and I felt the vibrations through my body,
Yeah. And I did
through
too.
the air, through the air.
Mhm.
So
I do too with the flute.
the
Yeah.
flute, yeah.
I play the Native American flute a lot.
Okay, okay.
Amy and I just pick up our flutes and let come out what comes out. But the vibrations, it's in your fingertips. You can feel it, particularly on those keys on the clarinet that has where it's open and the air is actually touching
Mhm,
your fingertip.
mhm.
And and the reed vibrates.
That's
You
right.
learn
That's right.
that
Yeah,
reed is
yeah.
vibrating in your mouth, and all of that has a great effect. So how
Mhm.
many of you are willing to do this 21-day challenge?
Sign me up.
Okay. 3 months though. Promise that you'll
Thank
just
you. Thank
do
you for
one
making
at
it
a
three
time,
months.
shoot for 7 a month. Now I'm going to suggest you do a journal with this. And before you start any one of them, take note of your emotional state, your mental state, your physical state. Okay. Because remember, those are the three states we sort of keep track of, right? They make up how we're feeling at the moment. And then do your breathing exercise and then stop and feel that. And then be aware what happens over the next couple of hours, because that's not just going to have an immediate effect.
Mhm.
It's going to have effect over a period of time. And if you find one that really energizes you, if you're going to have to do something physical or mental, do that exercise before you do it and keep track of whether or not that's helpful.
Mhm.
Make use of it. It's the best doctor that you have. Okay, it's the best pill that you can take, if that makes sense. Oh, we found out there's a bar here in town called the doctor's office. And apparently, when you go in, you get a shot followed by a drink. So go to the doctor's office and take a shot of breath, please.
Wow.
Jimmy,
Okay.
I'm feeling a little ill tonight. I want to go get a shot.
Yeah,
Be a new happy hour drink.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, a shot of breath.
All right, everybody. Well, that's it for tonight. You'll look for, I'll send out the 21-day challenge that, as Granny J saying, we'll use over the 3 months. Um, And I'll send out that list of the frequencies and the recording. Another book, there's the book that Granny J is referencing is on the document on the 21 day, but we also had recommended this one, Breath by James Nestor. So this is also a good one. And I'll put the name of that in the harvest as well. And back to Mary's piece about the mantras, let's share out. We can just do that via email. Yeah. So with that, is there anything else before we close out?
You want me to, are we sharing now or we're closing out?
I was just gonna say, let's do it via email. Yeah, just because I want to
Okay.
honor the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if you have questions, I'm not a breath work expert. I will be going back home and checking in with a friend of mine who is. Um, but I have been experimenting with breath for over a year, and I make use of it when I'm tired and I have to do something. I do some breath work. When I can't sleep, I do some breath work. If I am anxious, I do some breath work. Okay. So I use it throughout the day, and I've found it helpful. Okay, so I'm encouraging you to give it a jolly good try. Leah was grateful for you sharing with us tonight. I'm so happy you had the experience.
Thank you.
Just so happy you were the perfect person to have that experience.
Mm.
Dream come true.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. We'll see you in April. Take good care.
Bye.
Go to the doctor's office.
Yeah,
Get
Go
the
to the
shot.
I'm
doctor's office.
headed there now.
Yeah.
We love you.
I feel it coming on. It's the big one.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Amy.